Okay, so we're going to start from chapter 1. And some of the objective of this chapter is, first, I'm going to introduce you to the TAL distributor database. This is a data set. This is the first data set that I'm going to talk to you about. Basically, this company is a company that we are using as example throughout this text. Also, we will talk about some of the basic terminologies which I have covered in week 0. We will also be able to describe what is a database management system or what is a database system. And also we will learn about the advantages and disadvantages of data processing. We have talked about some of this in chapter 0. That was a pre-introductory course that I wanted you guys to get familiar with. So some of these content in here might be just for you guys to review. Also, the second data set that I'm going to introduce to you is called the Colonial Adventure Tour. This is also a company that is being used as some of the cases in this book. So there is also a data set for this. I'm not going to make that data set available for you from week 1, but if we need it for our assignments, I will make sure that that is available. So the only data set that you need to have, and it's the data file that I'm going to show you to download, is for the TAL distributors. Remember, if you haven't purchased all the material for the book, that's okay, because I'm providing you the TAL data sets. So I'm providing you all the files that is necessary for this course. So you could just use, even if you have a used book, you can just use a used book. And another data set that we are going to talk about in this course is the Solomar's condominium group. This company also appears sometimes in our book, so we are just going to get familiar with it a little bit as well. Okay, so let's start with some background of the TAL distributor. See what this company does. Basically, this is a wholesaler of selling toys, games, and puzzles. Currently, they don't have a database, so the TAL distributors are using spreadsheet, or another word, Microsoft Excel, to basically maintain their important data. This happens for a lot of different companies as well. A lot of different companies, or smaller companies, I should say, they might not have some kind of a database, but they have these huge Excel files which they input all of these materials in it, and sometimes it gets cumbersome. So it is very hard for them to keep track of things. They have duplicates, so then they actually might need a database. So a lot of companies, a company that the students from last semester they have worked on, they actually had it just Excel spreadsheet, and they never had a database. So I actually asked the students to kind of create a database for them. And in this course, we will get similar projects, and we will work on similar project to create a database for just a small company. So basically, a recent growth has made the spreadsheet approach problematic, because their spreadsheet keep growing. So basically, they need something more than just an Excel spreadsheet. So this is current sample of the Excel spreadsheet that they are using basically. So you see that a lot of the orders, they have been on this spreadsheet for many times. So you can see this order 334 is there for 2 times. The 586 is there for maybe 4 times. So it's kind of repeating itself. So some of the problems that this company has, and maybe other small, medium-sized companies have when they use the Excel spreadsheet, is it's a redundancy. Basically, duplication of data. That is one of their problems that they have. Another thing is they have difficulty accessing data because everything is in this one Excel spreadsheet. So in terms of the access level control, it's impossible. So, I mean, you cannot just give certain people access to certain part of Excel. So versus in database, that's what you can do. And also limited security, as we said. So you basically, there are not that many security options that you can actually apply in a spreadsheet. And then the size limitation, it keeps growing. You know, that's, you're just gonna end up with having millions of lines sometimes, and that's just too much. So some of the information that the TAL distributors need to be able to maintain is basically they need to maintain the list of sales rep. So some of the things that they might need for a sales rep, it could be number, their last name, first name, maybe the phone number, the address, and sometimes maybe the commission rate. Also, they need to maintain customers' data in there. So the customer information could be customer number, it could be their name, last name, current balance, credit limit, number of customers, sales rep. Also, they need to maintain inventory, item inventory in there. So all the items that they need for inventory, they need to maintain it in there, such as the item number, description of that item, number of units on hand for that item, different category for that item, the unit price, as well as storehouse number. So probably you have seen such a thing before as an invoice. So a lot of companies have something like that. So this is an invoice form basically. So they have it in terms of a form, and they have to manually fill it out or just copy it from the Excel spreadsheet. So these type of forms we can actually build in a database, and we will do that in Microsoft Access. So also for each customer's order, they need to maintain the order number, the order date, the customer number. Also, they need to have order line, order number, again, item number, number of units, and overall order total. So to be able to see that as well. So let's look at, so now that you know that this company, what kind of a basically data they're talking about. So let's see how database can actually help this company. Basically, we have talked about this in chapter 0. What is a database? Database is a structure that can actually store information about different categories or basically different information. In the database, you have relationships. Relationship between one category or between different information. And in a Microsoft Access, we call, or in a relational database, we actually use tables, and then we connect the tables together and develop a relationship. Another terminology that's important for us to know is called entity. When we talk about entity, maybe you have heard about entity relationship diagram. So what is an entity? Entity could be a person, place, event, or just an idea. So the entities for TAL distributors could be sales rep, customers, orders, as well as items. Another important key terminology that you need to know is called attributes. So what is an attribute? Attribute is characteristic of that entity. So for example, if the person is a student, the attribute would be basically the student's last name, or maybe the student address, or maybe the student zip code. So these are the attributes, or basically they can describe that entity. In a database, we might also call attribute a field or a column. So attribute, field, column, they're all the same. And then we have relationship, association between those entities. So for example, customer and order. There is a relationship between customer and order. Customer is one entity, order is another entity. So there is a relationship between customer as well as order. So we have different types of relationship. and we will learn throughout this course. So right now I'm just talking about basic things about relationship. So one of the relationship could be one-to-one relationship. That means one entity could have relationship with one, the relationship could be one-to-one. For example, one customer could have only one rep. Another type of relationship is one-to-many relationship. So one customer could have many reps, or one rep could have many customers. So each rep is associated with many customers. That's one-to-many relationship. Each customer is associated with a single rep. So this is the one-to-many relationship. So in this way, we are actually showing the entities in here. So we have the rep and we have the customer. And then we are also showing their attributes. So the rep has rep number, last name, first name, street, city. And then the customer has all of these. And in this example, we are actually connecting the two entities together using a relationship. So the rep to the customer. The rep could have many customers. So this is just one of the way in the ER diagrams that you can actually show one-to-many relationships. The next thing you need to know is basically data file. File used to store data is called data file. Computer actually counterpart to ordinary paper file. In a database, as we said, we could store information about those entities, about those attributes, and about those relationships. So you could have multiple attributes, multiple entities, and multiple relationships. So let's look at the sample of TAL database. In this example, you can see that we have broken it down into different parts. So first, table, I'm going to refer to table because that's what we are going to talk about throughout this course. So one table is called rep. Another table is called customer. So rep, as you can see here, has basically different attributes to it or different field. Remember, we said attributes, fields are the same. So rep number, last name, first name, street, cities, and all that. So rep table has 4 different records. So combination of these fields are called records. So we have 1 record, 2 record, 3 record, and 4 records for the rep. Customer, however, has these attributes, but it has more than 4 records. It has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, more than 8 or 9 records. And then we have orders and order line. So these are all also different tables. So orders has different attributes and also has some records here. Order line have different attributes and also have different order, the record. An item is another table. Again, item could have item number, description, on hand, category. So these are all the attributes or different fields, and it has these many records in there. These are different order structures that you can see in here. I mean, let's look at the first orders. So you can see that order here has order number, order date, and customer number. So let's look at this table. So this is another order table. So let's say if you would have broken it down into this, you had both the order and the item all combined together. You see that there are some redundancy, and also you have 2 basically records for 1 field. We will talk about normalization process in this chapter, which we don't want to have. We only want our field to have 1 record. We don't want it to look like this. And we will talk more about this, how you have to break down your tables so you don't get duplicates. You don't have, so basically you have kind of a good data or clean data in your database.